Hey guys, Jake from MACkite, back with another session impression. Today we have the 2022 Duotone Evo. I was super excited to try this thing out. To be honest, I've never been the biggest Evo fan. I really like Duotone. Thought the Rebel was super solid as a free ride big air kite. I've liked the dice for its aggressive nature. I never quite figured it out with the Evo. So this morning, when I was forced to take it from somebody coming off the water, I honestly had fairly low expectations. I mean, I know a lot of people like it. I'm not dogging on anybody. I've just never personally hit it off, you know? So we would not be life partners if we had met at the bar. I got on it. It started off a fairly light wind session. So I'm like, here we go. Kite I don't want to ride. In wind I don't even want to kite in. This is not going to be a great experience. And honestly, I was completely wrong. So the Evo, right off the bat, I was coming off a dice and I was really underpowered. I was really pitching it up and down. There was no room for tricks, barely holding my tack line, which is not how you want to ride a dice. If you want to ride a dice, you should have adequate or high power, and then that's going to be one of your favorite kites out there. If you're underpowered, you will probably hate that kite and regret every dollar that you put towards it. That's how I was feeling. So I'm on the Evo. All of a sudden, I'm going upwind. I'm like, all right, this is to be expected, obviously. It's a different profile. It's a little bit more opened up. It was moving a little bit more further forward in the window. Definitely more high aspect. Then I give it a little down loop. Snaps right around, I'm flying back in. Smile's starting to form on my face here. So loop it down, flying back into shore. Kind of feeling the bar pressure. I would characterize this as lighter to medium. It's not quite as light as the Rebel. I totally forgot to gauge how much bar pressure was on the dice, but I feel like that's a little bit on the lighter side too. Maybe not quite as light as the Evo or similar. But if you have any kind of like sore arms or tennis elbow, the Rebel's the ticket. The bar pressure is just so light on that thing. Still, the Evo, fairly light, pretty comfortable, but enough where I could always tell where the kite was when I pulled in on the bar. So, slash and shore, rip it back across, holds me through my carve, I'm feeling pretty good. Find a little kicker, send it, kite's parachute. I'm like, am I on the Rebel or am I on a totally redesigned Evo? So of course, have a really awesome session, get back here, start looking through what big sweeping changes they made for the Evo for this year. I'm just not seeing it. I think I was a hater and I've been completely converted as of today. This is a really fun kite. Who's it for? I think anybody who's just looking to learn, to progress, to have a good time. I could certainly see discipline specific or higher performance riders wanting something different. You know, they say that this is decent surf kite. I think as far as active flying goes when you're surfing, I could see that being the case, but I did find a couple pockets where it ran out of wind and I didn't think it drifted as well as I would want a surf kite too. But when I was able to basically refine tension in the lines and loop it, it whipped through and then I could slash back and forth. Not a lot of drifting, a lot of slashing when it comes to surfing. However, great upwind, really fun lofty jumps, not maybe as high as the Rebel, but far more glidey and parachutey. So that's going to be a kite where you're probably not going to be setting a woo record. But if you want to practice some board offs, if you really kind of want to hang it up there upside down and then catch yourself, it does a really good job for that. It's one of those kites where you can get up there, you can yank hard on the bar, and you can find that it catches you. So some kites will yank you through the window, and when you're coming down, the trick is over. You better put down the landing gear and brace for impact. This is one of those kites where you can cheat a little bit, flick it in the sky, and it'll hold you for a second, stall out, do your grab, and then you can re-steer it, and it'll finish pulling you through the trick. I also found that it was really easy to relaunch. I wanted to test it, so I slapped it down in the water. Of course, where I could touch, because I didn't want to test it that much, or I get dragged a mile downwind. And I found that I had a hard time getting this kite to not pop back up off the water. So it goes down, catches the wingtip, springs back up. So then I bring it overhead, jam it down in front of me, give that line a yank, and it just pivots right downwind of me and pops off. A lot of kites, you have to move them to the edge of the wind window, and then the wingtip is kind of hanging in there, you yank it, and you're off to the races. This thing took right back off, and I think that's a really important characteristic for progression. Sometimes you're out there busting out tricks, and you're not sure how easy it's going to be to get your kite off the water. God forbid if you lose your board. For us, especially in Lake Michigan, it's so deep that you're just treading, you're swimming against it, and you're just really hoping that a little puff of wind finds your kite on the water and you can get back up. But if that's in the back of your mind, you're less likely to throw those tricks that can put your kite in the water, and that's a detriment to progression. This is a kite I would feel really comfortable hucking, putting down, popping back up. That's an important characteristic. So the hallmarks of this kite, I think, really solid upwind pull, really easy relaunch, light to medium bar pressure, enough to know where the kite is, fairly quick turning. It is going to be a pulley-less kite, so it does have that kind of snappy, direct feel. Depending on how you yank on the bar, it can be rather pivoty, where you dump a lot of power and snap it in a different direction, or it has these big swept down loops if you want to do a big flashy transition or cut it close to shore and keep a smooth power curve. There probably are, as I said earlier, better kites for discipline-specific riders, or if you're looking to try out for King of the Air, I wouldn't recommend this. I would look at something really boosty like the Rebel, the Dice perhaps, if you're doing a lot of high up acrobatics. But if you're just looking for a kite that's comfortable to ride, super fun, is gonna put a smile on your face, kind of checks all the boxes, I think the Evo is a great option. I rode this in the standard construction and I was really, really impressed. I've got to imagine the SLS construction is even better. I was on a 13 meter, a lot of other people were on 13 or 14s, and I felt like I was holding a similar tack line. So it did feel fairly grunty as well, certainly more than the Dice I came off of. And I'm looking forward to riding the Rebel SLS a bit more so I can give it an adequate comparison to the Evo. But this Evo, to wrap things up, is what the Rebel has always felt like to me, which is the essence of kiteboarding. A kite that you just go out, have a good time with, it puts a smile on your face, you're jumping, you're flipping, you don't feel like the kite is limiting your progression. I think it's worth checking out. Guys, as always, thanks for checking us out. This has been Jake from MACkite.